In today's video, we're doing a review of FreshBooks, and before we get started, I gotta admit that I screwed up a little bit. And the reason for that is perhaps you've seen my last video where I did a review of FreshBooks, but I ended up leaving FreshBooks and going to QuickBooks. And the reason for that was FreshBooks is a little bit more limited in its functionality. It's kind of niched down to invoicing, time tracking, just billing, things of that nature. But with QuickBooks, I was kind of attracted to the fact that I could do a bunch of things. I could do payroll, I could do accounting, bookkeeping, invoicing, time track, all these things within one tool. Well, taking a look at my dashboard of QuickBooks right here, you can see I've been a little bit active here. Nothing crazy, but I kind of use this as a side hustle for me, really, to be honest. I like doing a little bit of consulting on the side here and there when it comes to marketing. So what I want to show you here, though, that kind of ties everything together that I was just talking about is if you go down here in your dashboard, it's called add-ons. So what you can see here is that you can add on Bench, Gusto, and then different FreshBooks services. And I specifically want to talk about Bench and Gusto because what I do now is Bench for bookkeeping and I use Gusto for payroll. And the nice thing is that they actually talk to each other. So you can integrate with these services. So then you can have services that are really dedicated to one specific thing. And the reason why I find this so important, and if you watched any of my other content, you may have heard me talk about this. When I got QuickBooks, I was kind of lured in by the fact that I could put everything in one tool, but I started having really bad issues with my payroll and specifically making sure that the right tax forms were being filed. This is actually a form from New York State saying that I owe them taxes still from QuickBooks issues. So still dealing with the headaches of QuickBooks, where Gusto cleared that all up for me. So what I want to do now, though, is show you the functionality of FreshBooks and let you know what you're getting and what it is and what it isn't. So right here is your dashboard, and you can kind of get outstanding invoices. So I just sent an invoice for $750, total profit, revenue streams, spending, etc. All right, and what you want to know as far as clients, if you can think of FreshBooks as a filing cabinet, right? Your clients are all the folders inside of that filing cabinet. So you're always going to start with your clients with whatever you're doing. So when you get set up, you want to set up a client. It's really easy to do. You just go to new client, you add their information in, and then they'll be in here. And the nice thing is then once you get into like invoicing them, it's very easy to pull that client up. So anything else that you really do in here, so if I want to do an invoice and I'm just doing a quick new invoice, what I do is I would just pull up the client. It's the first thing that you're always doing here. So that's why it's important to set up all of your clients in here. And when you are setting up your clients, one thing to be aware of, if you want to save some time, is if you have a lot of clients, you can import them from a CSV file. So that's super helpful as well. Outstanding client revenue, which is nice because if you are switching from another service and you kind of have some invoicing that's still being taken care of, you can take a look at that. Now, as far as payments, let's take a look over here. So you can see a quick history of all your payments on here and be able to go back and see, who's paid, who hasn't. I like that feature that you can see that really quick. And then you can also look at like P&L reports on here. Now, granted, this is going to be a profit and loss just based on your freelancing. Like I don't have all of my invoices and expenses. Like if I buy a computer, I'm not really putting it into FreshBooks. I'm using Bench accounting for that. This is nice though if you have like employees, like they'll show up in here. So if it's not just you freelancing, but you're invoicing for your employees' time, you'll actually see the cost of the employee and then also the profit that came from that employee as well. So looking at, some reports here, the nice thing is you can set up your favorite reports. So why don't we look at like one that's just revenue by client. So you one-click this, and this is one of the nice things is it's all there, right? I have my revenue for the entire year. It automatically makes it a 1-year snapshot. If I want to apply a filter and change it to, this month, this quarter, whatever, I can do that. I can do all clients or I can choose some clients. And then total billed versus total collected and total outstanding. So I do like the fact that with these reports too, that like I just said, it's just kind of like click a button and they pop open. One of the things I really like about this tool is the time tracking feature. So if you go back to June, this is kind of the last I did time tracking. I'm kind of split on tracking your time. Part of me likes just doing project based. Here's the number. This is what it's going to cost. Part of me does like time tracking in that I feel like, when you're looking at these numbers here, you're like, okay, is somebody really making up the fact that they worked an hour and 42 minutes? Like it's very direct and it's very on. The issue that I have is I have trouble tracking all of my time because my brain's always rolling, right? So if I'm thinking about that client, am I really gonna like open up this tool and start tracking that time? Probably not. So you want to think about what type of freelancer you are. Are you somebody who would actually enjoy time tracking, or are you somebody who might just like a retainer type service? After testing both out, I find that I like retainer better, but that's really up to you. But if I was the person hiring a freelancer, I'd want them to track their time. So keep that in mind. One of the nice things here, if you click start timer, immediately the timer starts. So technically, as I'm picking a client on here and putting them in here, this is already time that's going. So even though it's just 10 seconds, that 10 seconds is now tracked. And, I can put on something like making a review video. And if you're curious, I do make a lot of review content like this. It's actually through affiliate marketing. So I earn income when people use my link in the description below. So I will have a link for FreshBooks if you want to sign up through my link. And I appreciate it because it helps to support my channel. So I don't have to do a ton of consulting. So going through this projects here. I've done a little bit of this. I invoiced a project. It was kind of like an initial project I did with somebody consulting, just kind of taking a look at their overall marketing strategy. Pretty easy to set up, right? Everything is always the green button up here. Are you doing a flat rate project or hourly project? Really up to you, kind of the conversation we just had. Let's say it's flat rate. Everything kind of looks the same for the most part, right? They move it around a little bit. They do a nice job with that, but you can assign a client. Super easy to do. So I'll keep using the same handsome devil over here. And then you can put in the end dates and everything, flat rate and all that, and then add your services. So this is just nice to be able to, put these things in and have it very clean and easy to view. So I'm going to cancel on this one and because I don't want to set that up. But one of the things right now I want to show you is the invoicing because it's pretty intuitive and very easy to use. So if you go to invoices, again, you can see that I just sent one actually today, but I'm just going to set up another one just for example purposes. So if I click new invoice up here, what you're going to see is I already have my template here that comes up. And then again, it's like going to that filing cabinet and you got to pick the right folder. And then I'm just going to pick somebody here and there we go. And then for the description here, the nice thing that I like here is it does have some of your past descriptions. So it might be as easy as just doing something like this and then saying, nope, this is actually for November 2021. And then everything else is good to go right there. So I'm ready to go. For the date of issue, due date, it always pushes it a month out. So if you're somebody who does net 30, that's already kind of in there, but you can of course change that. You can do everything like make it recurring, customize invoices, accept online payments. Do know when you accept credit card payments that you're the one that's taking that fee. So out of this $750, I'll put it on screen how much I actually earn from that because of credit card fees. So you can, take that option out. But of course, a lot of people like paying by credit card if they can. A couple different options here. So if you click send to, it automatically pulls the information from that client again. So you can literally use this, like you don't even have to open up your email to send them the invoice. You can just send it right here. Or if you want, you can create a shareable link. If you ever see these little crowns here, that's just upgrading the next plan, which I believe is the Pro plan. Personalize and automate emails to clients by creating email templates with dynamic fields. Probably helpful if you're doing a ton of invoicing. For me, I'm not the case, So most times what I end up doing is I create a shareable link. And when you do this, it says, just so you know, this is going to be marked as sent. I'm going to say, got it, marked as sent. And then what I can do at this point is I have that link copied and I'll just email this link to the client. So now if we take a look at my invoices, I'm going to have one extra invoice. So this one right here, you can see it's under a minute ago that it was created. So what I'm going to do is click on more actions and then just go to delete at the bottom. These options here are helpful too, because sometimes usually what I actually do is I go to my invoices first. I just duplicate the invoice and I change out the description since this is a retainer and I just do it like that. I could set it up as a recurring invoice, but this particular project was only 6 months and I was like, you know what, I'll just go in on the first Friday of each month and just do it myself. So why don't I delete this invoice? So right now I'm in the My Team function right here, and you can invite team members, team time tracking, and run payroll. You can see it's just me, but if I had somebody else that I was working with that worked underneath me, I would put them in here and I would assign them a cost to the business, an hourly cost, and then also what their billable hourly is. So let's say I'm paying them $25 an hour, but to a client that work ends up being $75 an hour. What it'll do is if I run a P&L, I might see that that person, I had to pay $1,000 last month, but I was able to bill out $3,000 with a net profit of $2,000. So I know those are really kind of basic examples I threw out there, but FreshBooks will allow you to actually track things as far as like what your actual earnings are, and not just like saying like, oh, I made $3,000 because you didn't. That employee cost you money as well. Looking at payroll, running payroll here. So this is where you click on this. As I mentioned Gusto earlier, I highly suggest Gusto if you are looking at running payroll. I find it to be much more effective than like some of the other options out there, such as like ADP, Paychex, and QuickBooks. And what I'm gonna have on the screen up here is a review of Gusto showing you how that platform works. And beneath that is a review of Bench for bookkeeping. Both of these services plug in with FreshBooks, and with Bench, they've taken out 90% of the hassle of bookkeeping for me. So both of those services are super helpful. And again, guys, thank you for using my links in the description below for any of these services, and I look forward to catching you on the next video.